The Galactic Council, an elite group of powerful alien races, sat in the grand chamber of their flagship, a colossal ship hovering at the edge of the galaxy. The chamber was filled with cold, calculated discussions about their latest victory, the near-complete eradication of humanity. Across the galaxy, the once thriving human colonies had been reduced to ashes, their people wiped out, their cities burned to the ground. The Council had believed that Earth, a primitive world, was now nothing more than a footnote in the galaxy's history. As the alien leaders reveled in their triumph, their smug expressions said it all. Humanity, so weak and fragile, they didn't even stand a chance, one of the council members sneered. Their voices echoed throughout the dark, metallic room, as if they were mocking the very idea of resistance from such an insignificant species. A powerful alien general, whose race had conquered countless worlds, stood at the center of the room. His race, a giant insectoid species known for their ruthless nature, boasted about their effortless victory over humanity. The Council, a conglomerate of different alien species, had long seen Earth as a joke. For centuries, they had planned and executed strikes to eliminate any human resistance. "We've destroyed their colonies, decimated their fleets, and left their planet in ruin," the general boasted, his voice dripping with arrogance. "There's nothing left of their so-called civilization." But what the Council didn't know, what they never suspected, was that beneath the surface of their hubris, a storm was quietly brewing. Far from being extinct, humanity had been silently preparing in the shadows, biding their time. Visuals. Outside, the massive flagship loomed over the remnants of a once thriving human colony, its shadow casting a dark pall over the shattered ruins. Alien delegates gathered on the balcony, gazing out at the devastation with satisfaction. The ashes of what used to be a proud human city drifted in the air, while the Council's warships hovered above like vultures, waiting to feast on the remains of the Earth. The Council's delegates, with their sleek, silvery armor and glowing eyes, scoffed at the notion of humanity even being a threat. They were far too advanced, their technologies far beyond what humans could ever hope to achieve. They should have surrendered sooner, one alien whispered to another, their voices dripping with disdain. The hook. But in the deepest corners of the galaxy, a secret was being kept. A secret that would soon shake the very foundations of the Galactic Council. While the aliens celebrated their apparent victory, Earth was not dead. It had merely been waiting. Hidden away in the far reaches of space, a fleet of unimaginable power was being prepared. No one outside Earth's own military knew of its existence. In the dark, distant space stations scattered throughout the galaxy, human engineers and soldiers worked in silence, crafting warships that would rival the might of any galactic fleet. They had cloaked their fleet in the deepest layers of hyperspace, using technology unknown to the Council. For years, humanity had been gathering strength, building weapons, and preparing for the moment when they would rise again. And then, in a flash, it happened. A ripple in space. A sudden disturbance in the void. The human fleet, long thought to be a myth, emerged from the depths of hyperspace, decloaking in an instant. The massive ships, sleek, powerful, and brimming with advanced technology, appeared from nowhere, catching the Galactic Council completely off guard. Emotional connection. On one of those ships, Commander Alex Foster, a man who had once been a lowly soldier, stood at the helm of the flagship. His face was hard, his eyes filled with determination. He had been part of the last defense on Earth when the Council's forces had decimated the planet's defenses. He had watched as his homeworld burned, as millions of people died. But it wasn't the destruction that haunted him, it was the faces of the innocent people who had died needlessly, the families, the children. They had been slaughtered, their lives extinguished like the flicker of a dying flame. But that was in the past. The time for grief was over. Now was the time for vengeance. Foster had risen through the ranks, from a soldier who fought to protect the last bastion of humanity, to the leader of the human fleet. Every battle he had fought, every loss he had endured, had led him to this moment. He wasn't just fighting for revenge. He was fighting for the survival of humanity, for every person who had died under the Council's brutal hand. The stakes had never been higher. As the human fleet materialized in front of the Council, Foster's thoughts were filled with the memories of what they had lost. His family, his friends, the people of Earth. They had all been destroyed, their sacrifices forgotten by the Council. But today, things would be different. Today, humanity would not be the prey, they would be the hunters. Foster's voice came through the comms, cold and resolute. Prepare for battle. This is our moment. Visuals. The human fleet, invisible just moments before, now loomed large in the cold expanse of space. Their ships, sleek and designed for stealth, were covered in dark, reflective armor that shimmered in the light of distant stars. The sleek, almost organic designs of the ships made them look like creatures of the night, gliding through the emptiness with deadly grace. The Council's flagship, a behemoth of alien technology, turned in shock as the human fleet emerged from the shadows. The once unshakable confidence of the Council leaders faltered. They had assumed Earth was finished, a mere footnote in their conquest. But now, humanity had returned with a force that even they had not foreseen. As the human ships powered up their weapons, Foster's thoughts were clear, this was not just about survival. It was about reclaiming everything that had been lost, about showing the Council that humanity would never be broken. The hook. The human fleet powered up its weapons systems, and in that moment, time seemed to slow. The Council's flagship, in all its grandeur, was about to learn that the humans they had so carelessly underestimated were no longer the fragile creatures they had once been. The first volley of weapons struck the Council's scout ships with devastating precision. Explosions filled the void, lighting up space as the once untouchable alien forces were torn apart. The fleet had arrived, and Earth's long-anticipated vengeance had begun. The Council, stunned by the sudden turn of events, scrambled to respond. But it was too late. The humans had already taken the first step in their revenge. The tide had turned, and the Galactic Council was no longer in control, the Galactic Council's arrogance was about to meet its match. After the shock of seeing the human fleet appear from nowhere, the Council, shaken but not yet defeated, scrambled to assess the situation. Their leaders, who had once thought themselves invincible, were now facing a challenge they hadn't anticipated. The silence in the Grand Chamber was oppressive, broken only by the sharp commands of the alien officers as they rushed to deploy their forces. "Send out the reconnaissance fleet," one of the Council's high-ranking officials ordered. "We need to confirm the size and capabilities of this human fleet. Let's put an end to this quickly." The Council was confident their reconnaissance fleet, highly advanced, swift, and well-equipped, could easily defeat the humans. They had underestimated humanity before, but this time, they were sure that their superior technology and experience would crush Earth's forces once and for all. The fleet of sleek alien ships, with their shimmering hulls and advanced energy weapons, moved out of the Council's flagship in tight formation. The ships were fast, with powerful weapons that could obliterate anything in their path. They had been trained to engage and neutralize threats swiftly, and the Council believed this would be no different. But the humans had been preparing for this moment for years. They had built their fleet in secret, designing it with the sole purpose of turning the tide against their oppressors. And as the alien reconnaissance fleet moved through space, they were unaware of the deadly ambush that awaited them. Visuals. Space was calm, almost eerily so, as the alien reconnaissance fleet glided through the void. The cold expanse stretched on endlessly, stars twinkling in the distance. But then, without warning, a ripple of energy shot through the silence. The first human warship decloaked, its sleek, dark form appearing like a shadow in the blackness of space. The alien ships didn't have time to react. The human fleet, equipped with the most advanced cloaking technology ever seen, appeared out of nowhere, ambushing the Council scouts in a series of swift, coordinated strikes. The first wave of alien ships was caught completely off guard. Their shields flickered as they scrambled to retaliate, but it was already too late. Human warships, fast and agile, tore through their defenses with pinpoint precision. Explosions erupted in space as alien warships were torn apart by the humans' devastating weapons. The enemy ships were obliterated in a matter of seconds, their remains scattered across the dark void. The human fleet was efficient, its firepower overwhelming. Each strike was calculated, leaving no room for the enemy to counterattack. The Council's ships were left scrambling, trying to regroup and retaliate, but the humans were already one step ahead. Twist. As the battle raged on, it became clear to the alien forces that they were facing something completely unexpected. The human ships weren't just advanced in terms of weaponry, they were also smarter. The humans had integrated artificial intelligence into their fleet, but it was not just any ordinary AI. These AIs were designed to learn and adapt, making them unpredictable in combat. Each human ship was equipped with a cutting-edge AI that could analyze the alien fleet's movements in real time, adapting tactics and countering alien strategies with fluidity and creativity. The humans didn't just rely on brute force, their ships were constantly adjusting their approach, using the element of surprise to their advantage. In the blink of an eye, their ships would shift positions, alter their fire patterns, and even change the angle of attack to make it impossible for the Council's forces to keep up. The Council's advanced weaponry and systems, which they had once believed to be superior, were no match for the unpredictability of human tactics. The aliens had been trained to fight according to rigid, predictable patterns, relying on the efficiency of their technology. But the humans, with their AI-guided fleets, fought in ways the Council couldn't even comprehend. Every move seemed like an improvisation, but it was all calculated. The human ships adapted faster than the alien forces could process, leaving them vulnerable. One alien captain, desperate to regain control, barked out orders to his fleet. Engage their ships at maximum power. We cannot let them get the upper hand. But the human fleet, with its superior tactics and technology, quickly turned the tide. As one alien ship launched a powerful missile barrage, the human fleet responded by evading the incoming fire with ease, using their cloaking devices to disappear and reappear in new positions. They moved like ghosts in the vast emptiness of space, their actions so fast and fluid that the alien forces couldn't even track their movements. Visuals. The human ships, sleek and dark against the backdrop of space, moved with the grace of predators stalking their prey. Each ship had energy shields glowing faintly around their hulls, shimmering as they absorbed enemy fire. The shields rippled with each blast, but they held strong. The ship's advanced weaponry fired in rapid bursts, creating bright flashes of light as they tore through the alien fleet. Explosions filled the space, the sharp, bright colors of plasma blasts contrasting with the cold blackness of the void. Alien ships exploded into brilliant fireballs, their debris scattering like fireworks. The human fleet moved like a well-oiled machine, cutting through the alien defenses with precision and speed. The Council's ships were on the defensive now, unable to match the speed and fluidity of the humans' attacks. Amidst the chaos, Commander Foster, the leader of the human fleet, stood at the helm of the flagship, his eyes sharp and focused. He was calm under pressure, orchestrating each move with the precision of a master strategist. Every decision, every command, was designed to keep the upper hand, to outsmart the Council's forces at every turn. "We've got them on the ropes," Foster muttered to his crew. "Keep pushing. Don't let up." The human fleet pressed on, relentless in its assault. The Council's reconnaissance ships, once so confident and sure of their superiority, were now scrambling to form a defense. But they were too late. The tide had turned. Emotional connection. Back on Earth, people watched in awe as the news reached them. The humans had not just survived, they were fighting back. The very people who had once been thought of as weak and fragile were now showing the galaxy what they were truly capable of. Families, who had lost loved ones to the Council's merciless attacks, could only watch as the battle raged on in the heavens. But their hearts swelled with pride. This was more than just a fight for survival, it was a fight for the future of humanity. Foster, in the heat of battle, thought back to his days as a soldier, before he had risen to command the fleet. He remembered the desperation of those early days, when they had been surrounded, outnumbered, and losing hope. But now, his fleet was strong. They had trained, they had adapted, and they had learned from their past mistakes. This wasn't just about revenge. This was about proving to the galaxy that humanity would not be crushed. They would rise again, stronger than ever before. The twist deepens. As the battle continued, the Council realized that the human fleet was far more than they had ever anticipated. The tactics, the unpredictability, the adaptability, none of their advanced systems could handle the relentless assault. The humans had learned from their previous encounters with the alien forces, and they had evolved. One by one, alien ships were destroyed, their forces scattered and confused. The once mighty reconnaissance fleet, so sure of their victory, was now decimated, their ships left floating in the cold emptiness of space. The Council's arrogance had been their downfall. They had underestimated humanity, thinking they were weak, thinking they had no hope. But now, as the remnants of their fleet limped away, they realized the truth. Humanity was not just a primitive species. They were a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Council was reeling. After suffering the surprise defeat at the hands of the humans, their confidence had been shattered. What had begun as a brief tactical misstep had turned into a full-blown humiliation. Now, the high-ranking officials of the Council, shaken but determined, were desperate to restore their honor. They could no longer underestimate humanity. Something had to be done to crush this rebellion once and for all. In the vast halls of the Council's flagship, furious leaders bellowed orders. Deploy the full war fleet. Leave no survivors. We will show these humans the true power of the Galactic Council. The massive fleet was assembled, including the most advanced warships ever built. Among them were the dreaded AI-controlled ships, programmed with cutting-edge military intelligence. These warships had been designed to obliterate entire star systems, capable of targeting and eliminating any resistance with pinpoint precision. The Council was confident that their overwhelming numbers and superior technology would finally break the humans. But what the Council didn't anticipate was the cunning and resilience of the human fleet. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the humans were fighting not with strength, but with intelligence, strategy, and a deep sense of determination. Visuals. The scene was set in the depths of space, where the human fleet, though smaller, had learned to fight in ways that the Council had never anticipated. The humans used the environment to their advantage, blending into the cosmic backdrop. They sought cover in asteroid fields, expertly maneuvering their ships between the massive rocks to avoid the relentless barrage of laser fire from the alien warships. Each asteroid became a shield, a natural defense that made it difficult for the Council to target them. The human ships darted in and out of the asteroid fields, emerging only to strike with precision before disappearing back into the dark crevices of space. It was a cat-and-mouse game that the humans had perfected, and their opponents were beginning to feel the weight of the relentless hit-and-run tactics. The human fleet, far from conventional, launched surprise attacks using electromagnetic pulses, EMPs, to disable the enemy's electronics. One moment, the massive alien warships were locked onto their targets, firing beams of energy with deadly accuracy. The next moment, they were helpless, their systems short-circuited by the EMP bursts. The humans, well aware of their technological inferiority in terms of firepower, had learned to fight smart. While the alien fleet reeled from the disruption, the humans fired salvos of energy blasts, taking down shields and targeting vulnerable points on the enemy ships. The tactics were risky, but they were effective. The humans were not afraid to take the fight to the heart of the Council's forces, and in doing so, they gained precious ground. Emotional core. Among the human forces was Captain Bonner, a seasoned soldier and a veteran of many battles. Bonner had seen the horrors of war, had watched friends and comrades fall, but nothing had prepared him for the loss he was about to face. As the battle raged on, Bonner was tasked with a critical mission, to infiltrate a heavily guarded enemy ship and disable its AI-controlled systems. The mission was a suicide run, but Bonner knew it was necessary. If the humans were to have any chance of winning, this AI-controlled warship had to be taken out. With a heavy heart and a fierce determination, Bonner led his team on a daring assault. The plan was set into motion. Bonner and his crew infiltrated the alien flagship, fighting their way through the ship's dark, metallic corridors. They fought with all the skill and tenacity they had, but it was clear that the odds were stacked against them. As Bonner reached the control room, he planted the explosives that would disable the ship's AI system. However, his escape was blocked by enemy forces. With no way out, Bonner made the ultimate decision. He detonated the explosives, sacrificing himself to ensure the success of the mission. The ship went dark, its AI systems disabled, and the human forces were able to exploit the weakness, taking down the ship in a devastating attack. Bonner's death was not in vain, but it cost the humans dearly. As the news of Bonner's sacrifice spread throughout the fleet, a heavy silence descended upon the crew. His comrades grieved, but they also found strength in his final act of courage. The pain of his loss ignited something within them, a burning desire for revenge. Bonner had given everything for humanity's survival, and his death would not be forgotten. Cliffhanger. As the humans pressed forward, the Council began to take notice of the unexpected turn of events. The AI-controlled warships, which had once been seen as invincible, were now vulnerable. The humans were proving to be a far more formidable opponent than the Council had ever anticipated. The Council's leaders, who had once believed that victory was inevitable, were now facing the harsh reality of their situation. Their forces were losing ground, and their once pristine warships were being picked off one by one. The humans, it seemed, had discovered a way to fight back, not with sheer strength, but with ingenuity and willpower. In the command center of the Council's flagship, the officials were in disarray. "How is this possible?" one of the high-ranking officials demanded. "We have the most advanced technology in the galaxy, and yet we're being outsmarted by these humans." Another officer, older and more experienced, responded grimly. "We underestimated them. They've adapted. They fight not just with their weapons, but with their minds. We thought them weak, and now they've turned our greatest strength against us." The reality of the situation began to sink in. The humans were not the primitive species the Council had once believed them to be. They were not weak, they were survivors, fighters, and they were learning faster than anyone could have imagined. And just as the Council began to rethink its approach, the humans launched their final counterattack. It wasn't just a fight for survival anymore, it was a war for the future of humanity. With Bonner's sacrifice fueling their resolve, the human fleet launched everything they had in one last desperate strike. They knew that if they didn't act now, they would be wiped out, but they also knew this was their only chance to take the fight to the heart of the Council. The Council's leaders were stunned as the human fleet surged forward, their ships moving faster and more strategically than ever before. The humans were no longer fighting like underdogs, they were fighting like champions, and the Council knew that this battle was far from over. As the human fleet raced toward the heart of the Galactic Council's territory, a sense of urgency filled every corner of the command ships. The Council's flagship loomed closer on the horizon, its massive structure threatening to overwhelm everything in its path. The humans had no choice but to launch a final, decisive strike. The fate of Earth depended on it. The plan was simple: infiltrate the flagship and take out the core of the Council's military leadership. If they could strike a crippling blow at the heart of the Council's forces, they could stop the war once and for all. But it wasn't going to be easy. The flagship was protected by some of the fiercest alien warriors in the galaxy, as well as advanced AI-controlled robots designed to hunt down and eliminate any intruders. The humans had no time to waste. The Galactic Council was closing in on Earth, and if the humans didn't act now, the planet would be lost. The countdown had begun, and the stakes had never been higher. Visuals. The scene was set in the metallic corridors of the alien flagship. The vast, cold walls of the ship hummed with the sound of machinery, echoing the cold, indifferent heart of the council. The humans, well prepared and highly skilled, moved in stealth through the darkened passageways. They knew the risks. This was not a fight that could be won through numbers. It was about speed, precision, and survival. As the human boarding team advanced, they encountered the first wave of resistance, elite alien soldiers clad in advanced combat armor. The aliens were fast and brutal, their weapons designed for close combat. But the humans were ready. Using their own advanced technology, they deployed cloaking devices and EMP pulses to disorient their enemies. The battle that followed was intense. Sparks flew from the walls as energy blasts collided with shields, and the sound of gunfire reverberated through the tight corridors. The humans were outnumbered, but they fought with a determination that the council had underestimated. Human soldiers darted around corners, utilizing their agility and high-tech gear to dodge the alien warriors and strike when the moment was right. Every movement was calculated, every shot aimed with purpose. But then, as the humans pushed deeper into the flagship, they encountered the council's most terrifying defenders, AI-controlled robots, designed to be the ultimate soldiers. These machines were ruthless, programmed with the combined intelligence of millions of battles. Their metal limbs moved with inhuman speed, and their weapons were deadly. The humans were forced into tight, claustrophobic spaces where there was no room to maneuver. One soldier, Captain Harris, found himself face to face with one of the robots. His heart raced as the mechanical creature advanced, its red eyes glowing ominously. But Harris had trained for this moment. With a quick motion, he deployed a blinding flash grenade, temporarily disabling the robot's sensors. It was enough. He sprinted forward, bringing his energy blade down in a precise strike that severed the robot's power core. Sparks flew, and the robot collapsed in a heap of twisted metal. But it was only the beginning. More robots and alien soldiers poured into the corridor, and the humans had to fight for every inch of ground. Their weapons blazed in the darkened hallways, and every corner held danger. The battle was chaotic, and there was no telling who would make it out alive. Twist. Just when it seemed like the humans might be overwhelmed, an unexpected ally appeared. A high-ranking council officer, who had been secretly supporting the human cause, made his move. For months, he had been leaking information to the human resistance, but now, in the heat of battle, he revealed himself in a bold act of betrayal. This officer, known only as Agent X, had long harbored resentment toward the Galactic Council. He had been disgusted by their cold, calculating approach to warfare, and the destruction they had caused across the galaxy. Agent X had made a pact with the humans, vowing to help them take down the Council from within. As the humans fought against impossible odds, Agent X's intervention proved to be the turning point. With his insider knowledge, he revealed the weaknesses in the flagship's defense systems. The humans were able to exploit these weaknesses, disabling the energy shields and taking down key defense platforms. The tide of the battle began to turn in their favor. The surprise of Agent X's betrayal sent shockwaves through the Council's leadership. Their flagship, once thought invincible, was now vulnerable. The humans had the upper hand, but the Council was far from defeated. The betrayal had caused division within their ranks, and now, the Council's leadership was splintering. Visuals. The ship's once impenetrable defenses faltered as the humans advanced. The hum of energy shields dying out filled the air, and explosions rang out as the human team strategically sabotaged key power sources. Sparks cascaded from the ceiling as plasma conduits ruptured, sending violent bursts of energy down the corridors. The flagship, once an imposing fortress, now felt like a collapsing death trap. With Agent X's assistance, the humans pressed forward. They moved through the damaged ship with renewed strength, knowing that their opportunity was slipping away. They had to reach the command center before the flagship's self-destruct mechanism could be activated. But even as they pushed closer to their goal, they could feel the presence of the Council's last line of defense. Alien warriors and AI robots gathered in the final corridors, preparing for one last stand. The humans, now deep within the flagship, were nearing their goal, the command center. But as they rounded the final corner, they were met with the full fury of the Council's remaining forces. The final confrontation was about to begin. Agent X's betrayal had thrown the Council into chaos, but they were not ready to surrender. The flagship's massive weapon systems powered up, preparing for a final strike. The humans knew they had only one chance to end the war, and if they failed, they would be wiped out. In the distance, a countdown began, signaling the flagship's imminent self-destruction. Time was running out. The humans braced for what could be the final battle of their lives. The echoes of distant explosions and the rush of battle filled the air. The fate of Earth and the galaxy rested in the hands of a few brave soldiers, each one determined to fight until the very end. As the countdown neared its final seconds, the last question hung in the air: would the humans manage to defeat the Council and save their world, or would the flagship's destruction signal the end of their struggle? The moment the Galactic Council launched their orbital bombardment on Earth, it became clear, this was the final assault. The dark expanse of space shimmered with the deadly intent of their massive warships, their weapons aimed squarely at humanity's last hope, Earth. The Council, once confident in their superior technology and overwhelming power, now faced the full wrath of human resilience. Above the blue planet, the sky began to crack open as the first wave of missiles streaked toward Earth's surface. The soundless explosions filled the void of space as these warheads began to fall, each one threatening to wipe out entire cities. The Galactic Council believed this would be the end of humanity. But they were wrong. Hidden beneath the surface, buried deep within the planet's crust and on the far side of its moon, the humans had prepared for this moment. For years, they had secretly constructed planetary defense systems, complex arrays of automated drones, laser turrets, and anti-orbital weaponry. They knew this day would come. And they would be ready. As the first barrage of missiles descended, Earth's defense systems came to life. Towering defense platforms rose from the surface, sending streams of energy into space. Drones, small and nimble, darted through the sky, their weapons cutting through the dark void like fiery stars. The once peaceful, quiet Earth transformed into a battlefield, with blinding explosions filling the sky. The lasers of Earth's defenses streaked across the heavens, impacting alien warships with incredible force. The air itself seemed to hum with energy as missiles and energy blasts collided in a symphony of destruction. Earth's once tranquil sky was now a chaotic storm of weaponized fury, as the defense systems fought to protect humanity's last stronghold. The sight was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The humans, outnumbered and outgunned, held their ground. It was no longer just a war for survival, it was a war for the very future of humanity. The human fleet, now fully engaged in the final battle, fought with precision and strategy. Their ships, equipped with advanced cloaking devices, slipped through the alien forces with deadly accuracy. They used guerrilla tactics, attacking the Council's ships in quick, calculated strikes before vanishing into the shadows of space. The humans knew that, despite their numerical disadvantage, they could outwit the Council's forces. With each passing moment, the battle became more intense. The human fleet, bolstered by their AI and robotics, fought on with a determination that shocked the alien forces. The Council's ships were larger and more powerful, but the humans' quick reflexes, creativity, and ability to adapt turned the tide in their favor. Using EMP pulses to disable enemy electronics, the human ships made quick work of the Council's defense systems. The once unstoppable alien warships faltered, their power grids sputtering as their advanced technology struggled to keep up with the unpredictability of human tactics. Every strike was a message to the Council: humanity would not be crushed. The space around Earth became a sprawling battlefield. Alien ships erupted in fireballs, while the sky above the planet crackled with the energy of battle. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, but the humans were determined not to let their home fall. In the midst of the battle, a massive explosion lit up the dark void of space. A Council warship was hit directly by a barrage of human missiles, and it erupted in a spectacular explosion. For a moment, everything went silent, as the debris from the destroyed ship drifted through space like a haunting reminder of the stakes. The human fleet pressed on, undeterred by the destruction, using their advanced technology to stay one step ahead of the enemy. Above the planet, the once imposing alien ships now appeared vulnerable. The human defenders, using every weapon at their disposal, held off the alien onslaught. As laser beams shot across the sky, their targets gleamed brightly in the cold expanse of space, creating a visual spectacle of epic proportions. Meanwhile, on the surface of Earth, massive explosions rocked the land as Council missiles attempted to penetrate the defenses. But the human systems, though damaged, held strong. Planetary defense drones swarmed around, intercepting incoming fire with precision. The once quiet Earth was now alive with the sounds of battle. At the heart of the human defense was Commander David Carson. The same commander who had witnessed the fall of his home, the destruction of his people, and the painful losses of countless comrades. Carson had seen it all. The pain of loss, the weight of failure, and the burden of leadership. Now, as the battle raged on above Earth, he found himself in the thick of it once again, leading the final charge against the Council. Every decision he made weighed heavy on his shoulders. Every strike, every maneuver, was not just for victory, it was for the survival of humanity. But the battle came at a cost. One by one, Carson's comrades fell. His closest friends, those who had fought alongside him through the darkest days, were now gone. The faces of those he had lost haunted him in every moment. But with every loss, his resolve grew stronger. He wasn't just fighting for survival anymore, he was fighting for the future of humanity. The human fleet was pushed to its limits, their strength tested in ways they had never imagined. But Commander Carson refused to let their sacrifice be in vain. He led the charge with unflinching determination, his every action fueled by the memories of those he had lost. Each time a human ship fell, Carson's heart grew heavier. But each time a Council ship was destroyed, his hope grew stronger. The battle was not just about survival, it was about reclaiming their future, about proving that humanity could rise above its struggles and emerge victorious. As the final hour of the battle approached, the humans made a final push toward the Galactic Council's flagship. Their ships, battered but not broken, fought with everything they had. The orbital bombardment was intensifying, and the alien forces were determined to break through Earth's defenses. But the humans had one last card to play, a final, devastating strike to end the war once and for all. Commander Carson, leading the charge, felt the weight of the moment press down on him. The stakes had never been higher. As the fleet closed in on the Council's flagship, he knew that this final assault would determine the fate of Earth, and of humanity itself. But there was one question that remained unanswered: would the humans succeed in their final assault, or would the Council's overwhelming power prove too much for them to overcome? The outcome of the battle would decide whether humanity would be wiped out, or whether Earth would stand victorious, its future secured. With the countdown to the final strike ticking down, the humans braced for the ultimate test. The final assault had begun, and there was no turning back, the final strike was inevitable. The Galactic Council, once thought to be the pinnacle of power in the universe, now faced the wrath of humanity. After months of brutal conflict, the humans had proven far more resilient than anyone, even the most powerful alien race, had ever anticipated. The time had come for the humans to strike a decisive blow, a final strike that would forever change the fate of the galaxy. The human fleet, battered but not broken, moved toward the Galactic Council's flagship. It was an overwhelming sight, a massive, looming vessel, the pride of the Council's fleet, a symbol of their unshakable dominance. But now, it was the target of humanity's last hope. Commander David Carson, his heart heavy with the loss of so many comrades, led the charge. Every fiber of his being was focused on one thing: the destruction of the flagship. The humans had endured too much, sacrificed too much, and this was their moment to end the war and ensure that their survival was no longer in question. The human ships, their advanced cloaking technology keeping them hidden from the Council's eyes, approached the flagship with deadly precision. They had one chance to succeed. If they missed, humanity would be wiped out. But this time, they were ready. The final battle was brutal. Human ships, expertly coordinated and guided by AI-driven strategies, launched wave after wave of attacks. Missiles flew through space, their glowing trails cutting through the dark void as they neared their target. The Council's defenses, still formidable, were no match for the humans' swift and unpredictable tactics. Then, with a deafening roar that shattered the silence of space, the flagship exploded in a magnificent display of light and fire. It was a moment that would forever be etched in history. The massive explosion lit up the sky, brighter than 1,000 suns, a symbol of the end of the Galactic Council's reign. The flagship, the pride of the alien fleet, was now nothing more than a cloud of debris floating in space. The explosion was unlike anything the humans had ever witnessed. For a split second, it seemed as though the entire universe stood still. The Council's flagship, once the symbol of their invincibility, had been reduced to a ball of fire and metal, scattering debris across space. The shockwave rippled through the atmosphere, visible even from Earth. The bright flash of light illuminated the sky, casting a final, dramatic glow on the battleground. The remaining Council ships, disoriented and confused, struggled to regroup. Their once powerful fleet was now in disarray. The humans, though battered and scarred from the months of battle, pressed their advantage, launching their final strikes against the weakened forces. The enemy fleet, broken and defeated, began to retreat. In the distance, the last remnants of the Galactic Council's forces turned away, their ships retreating back into the darkness of space. The humans had won. The fight was over. As the alien ships disappeared into the void, a sense of relief washed over the human forces. The battle had been won, but the cost had been steep. Commander Carson stood on the bridge of his ship, staring out into the vastness of space, his mind filled with the faces of those who had fallen. Their sacrifices had made this victory possible. They were the true heroes of this war. The commander, once just another soldier, had become a symbol of humanity's strength, courage, and determination. His every decision, every move had been driven by the knowledge that humanity's future depended on this moment. And now, as the stars stretched out before him, he knew that Earth had changed forever. The human fleet, though battered, had triumphed against the impossible. They had fought the most powerful force in the galaxy and had emerged victorious. Earth was safe. The human race had proven that they were no longer the underdogs. No longer would they be looked down upon by the galaxy's powerful empires. Humanity had shown that no matter how great the enemy, no matter how advanced the technology, they could always find a way to fight back. The war had ended, but a new era had begun. Humanity, having faced extinction and risen from the ashes, now stood as a force to be reckoned with. Earth was free. The human spirit, tempered by the fires of war, was now stronger than ever. The future was uncertain, but the humans were no longer afraid. In the aftermath, the galaxy would forever be changed. The other civilizations, once so sure of their superiority, now knew that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Council, once an empire of unimaginable power, had been humbled, its fleets shattered and its leadership in disarray. As Carson gazed out into the stars, the weight of everything that had transpired slowly began to sink in. The war was over. The galaxy would no longer see Earth as weak or insignificant. Humanity had proven that it was capable of greatness, that it was capable of surviving even against the most powerful of foes. In the silence that followed, as the final echoes of the battle faded into the void of space, Carson whispered to himself, in the end, it wasn't the strongest who won, it was the ones who never gave up. This final moment, this quiet reflection amidst the chaos of victory, marked the true turning point for humanity. It wasn't the advanced technology or the overwhelming power of alien forces that had brought victory, it was the sheer will, the unbreakable spirit, and the determination of humanity that had changed the course of the war. The humans had shown the galaxy what they were made of. They had faced death, despair, and destruction, and yet they had emerged victorious. This battle was not just about survival. It was about proving that the human spirit could never be broken, no matter the odds. As Commander Carson looked up at the stars, he knew one thing for certain: humanity's place in the galaxy had been forever altered. They were no longer the underdogs. Earth was now a beacon of hope, a shining symbol of what could be achieved when people refused to give up, even in the face of impossible odds. And so, as the retreating alien ships disappeared into the vast unknown, Earth stood tall. The war was over, and humanity had won. Their future was now theirs to shape, and nothing would ever be the same again.